you'll have some nursing students who are like, when's lunch? I'm ready to go. Is this going to be a short day?
I'm so tired.
Are we going to be here for the full 12 hours?
Do I have to do that bed bath?
Are you listening? Nurse Pass. Beast mode. Grinding. Yeah.
Networking. Sorry, I just messed up
your
school. Okay.
I'm leaving that in, by the way.
Oh, great.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Brad, back with another video. Back again with Katie.
What?
And we're going to be talking about networking in nursing school and why it's so important. And this kind of goes to the topic of, people are asking me, how do you end up getting jobs as a new grad nurse? As a new grad nurse.
Yeah, that was right.
That was right. I'm tripping.
Long day, guys.
And so, it really does begin while you're in nursing school. Whenever people go through clinicals, I have experienced this, and you may recall experiencing this as well. Whenever you're in clinicals as a nursing student, you'll have some nursing students who are like, when's lunch? I'm ready to go. Is this going to be a short day?
I'm so tired.
Are we going to be here for the full 12 hours?
Do I have to do that bed bath? Here, I'll give you the linen,
right,
and I'll watch you. I'm not sure how to do that.
Right.
BS, you know.
Right, exactly. Now, that is not how you want to be. And what is most important to take away is that when you're there at clinicals, you're there to work. You're there to work, and you're there to make a good impression on those who are around you. Me and Katie were talking, and these nurses that are on these floors, they're watching you. You want to present yourself as well as you can. Let people know, hey, I would be a valuable asset to the team. I want to work. I'm here to learn. What do you need to do? You may just be assigned 2 patients for that day. Your nurse may have 6. I got 2 patients, room 1 and 2. I know you have 6. I'm here to work. I'm here to help. What can I do?
And that doesn't mean you have to be this perfect nursing student, right? I think if you are someone that walks in on your clinical, even if it's a place you don't want to work, even if you're like, I know I want to be an ED nurse, so I don't care about the med surge. Every place is valuable in treating it like that, because even if you don't work there, or I guess what I want to say is, just because something's not valuable to you doesn't mean it's not important.
Right.
There's probably a more eloquent way to say that. But,
I know what you mean.
that I've had people as nursing students so checked out or so like, I don't care about this. I'm never going to work in this unit. Well, that's fine if you're not. But this is still important.
Yeah.
And I need you to have some respect for the people that have chosen to work here. It's really, really important to do that. And whenever I was on that, I worked on a floor for 2 years, or a step down. But we had a lot of students. And every time clinical was over, the nursing instructor, the clinical instructor came to us and said, what'd you think of everybody today? Every time. And, there's people that you can tell were just waiting to be told what to do. There were people that were pretty cool. Like, they were helpful.
Yeah.
They weren't perfect. They didn't know all the answers, but man, they were willing to try.
Right.
Or if I said, hey, I'm about to start an IV, there were people that were like, oh, great, getting up right away.
Right.
Then there were other people like, oh, okay. Just showing that kind of initiative. Yeah. You don't have to be a perfect nurse, but you have to, or a nursing student, but you have to be like, show that you care.
Yeah.
Show you're invested.
Yeah.
And a good talking point I like to tell students is, if you're new on a unit, and you don't know what to do, like maybe there might be things to do, but you're so new, you don't even know how to tell what needs to be done.
Right.
Talk to the nurse you're with or the CNA and say, hey, I'm pretty new and I want to be as helpful as I can. So if there's something that needs to be done, but I'm not doing it, can you let me know? I'd love to help.
Yeah.
And opening that line of communication, giving those people permission to say, hey, we got this. Can you come help with this? Because sometimes speaking from someone who works with students or has worked with students, you don't always know what experiences people need. And I don't want to spend 20 minutes explaining something to somebody when they already know it.
Right.
So I really want to know where your needs are, and it's helpful to communicate those things.
Yeah.
And if you're that consistently engaged nursing student, even, and remember, not perfect, but engaged
Right.
and caring about this environment and the people and the relationships and your patients, that speaks to the nurses.
Yeah.
And building those relationships throughout nursing school is essential, because you want to build your team as much as possible. Your team meaning those names on those references on your resume. Who can you get to speak for you to say I really want Brad on the team.
Right.
Like, I really like the initiative that he showed. I mean, yeah, he didn't get his IV on the first try, but man, I really appreciated the way that he handled it, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I also encourage you too, is don't just think about the nurses. Think about the nursing assistants, maybe even the physicians. I had 2 physicians as my references when I was in the ED, because we worked very close together. Like, when I was on the floor, that would not have happened, but I was in a small emergency department where it was me, my clinical instructor, the physician, and a paramedic. And we spent a lot of time together.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask him to be my reference. What's the worst he's going to do? Say no?
Right.
And I asked him, and there was another, and I worked multiple shifts, so there were, of course, there were multiple physicians. So I asked 2 of them, and they were like so happy to do that for me. And I don't think they knew to offer that. I don't
Right.
think they would have thought to offer that, but they were really excited to do that for me. So ask people.
And I'm sure if you had been in there and you had just been a fly on the wall and had been very passive and didn't really show like you cared or anything like that, they probably would not have been so willing to.
Right. It's really helpful to have, you gotta build that rapport, that trust, make that good impression, so that when you do start to fill out applications, you've got this rock star team of a nurse practitioner or a nurse you worked with, a CNA, not just all your clinical instructors. Like, that's helpful to have that, but you gotta stand out. And networking isn't something that just applies to the nurse executive, the nurse manager.
No.
This applies and starts in nursing school, because you get jobs because of networking, because of relationships, not because you filled out the application perfectly. Like, so quick story. When I was applying for jobs, part of when I was graduating, we had to do 120 hours of community service to graduate. And then we had to write a 10-page paper. It was like this aspect of graduation, which I was frustrated with, but at the end of the day, I had 120 hours of volunteer work to put on my resume. And I volunteered in an emergency department, and I ended up applying at that hospital. I didn't end up choosing that job, but I wasn't getting calls back at all, like I had mentioned in another video, but I told the volunteer service coordinator that I had built rapport with, because I was a volunteer with them. And the volunteer service coordinator is a director of a service line. They are a leader at that hospital. Yeah. So that leader of one of the leaders talked to the HR and said, "Hey, Katie applied. She's a great nurse, or she would be a great nurse." So she was able to like kind of be a champion for me on the back end. That if I didn't have that connection, I probably wouldn't have gotten that interview. Right. Because I know a ton of people apply for those positions. So anything like that, where you can really build those relationships of someone to say, yeah, I really, on the back end, like on an internal email, like, hey, I work here, and I know, and emailing HR, like, this is a great resume to make sure that you take a closer look at. Right. So networking is so important throughout nursing school, and even in not just in clinicals, but in those volunteer experiences, in jobs, working as a CNA. Those things are so valuable.
Yep. So don't think that, you wait until the last second whenever you graduate and now it's time to start putting my best foot forward.
Don't do that.
You will be one of those nurses who is, possibly, 6 months after they've graduated and don't have a job.
Or getting your, worst job choice ever. Like, maybe you wanted to be an ED nurse, and if you're not thinking about networking until you leave, or you made a bad impression, or not necessarily a bad impression, you didn't make one. That's almost worse.
That's big.
Like, it's not worse, but it's like, because that guy, he was so lazy or whatever, or I don't even remember that person. Yeah. Like, it's like, I don't even know, you were here? Yeah. Like, I don't remember you.
To stand out.
Yeah, and then you might get a job, and you'll be lucky to get a job in whatever place, right. So that you gotta start like freshman year, y'all. Yep. First semester.
Right from the jump. And let that mold your mind in nursing school. Let that mold how you approach clinicals and how you approach patient care and working with the interdisciplinary team that you do.
What?
I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's all we got for you in this one. Katie's information will be in the description below. You better go follow her.
Please, that'd be great.
You better. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Love to have you here, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Thanks, guys.